Welcome in, everyone, to Spiritual Roots Podcast with me, Misty. I hope you are all doing well. Welcome to Season 2 of Spiritual Roots Podcast. I'm so excited to get back into this. I've done some fun interviews. Today's episode, I welcome in a friend of mine, Jeremy, who I've met recently. But I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be back. I've missed it, my friends. I've missed you. I hope you've all been doing really well. I hope you all had a great February. Spring is just around the corner, and I cannot wait. The birds have been singing every morning, and it's just been such a treat listening to them. They know what's going on, don't they? But I hope that you're all excited for spring. I hope you're excited for Season 2 of the podcast. I really am. I cannot wait to get into this. Just so exciting. It really, truly is. So my first guest for Season 2 is, like I had said, Jeremy. I met Jeremy recently. How we met is he is a friend of my friend Kristen, who you all remember from her episode. She knew him, and he actually did a breath work workshop with the Gaia group that we talk about often here on the show, and that's when I first met him. And then he's been to a few sound baths, and me and the girls have also been there. So we've all been able to chat together, and I'm so excited to have the masculine side of spirituality because I don't think that it's talked about enough. And I was just really excited for him to come on. And he talks about his story. You know, he's an avid hiker. He deep dive into spirituality after, some adversity, some grief, and he goes into hiking, and it was just a fun conversation. We have some laughs, and it was just a good time, and I can't wait for you all to hear episode 1 of Season 2. So let's get right into it, my friends. Thank you so much for all your support, really, truly. And thanks for being patient for me taking the month of February off. It was much needed. It wasn't that I was burnt out. I just wanted to take a break and kind of refresh and just get renewed and think of some ideas for the show, invite some guests on. So hopefully I have some good ones lined up that you're all going to dig. So let's get into today's episode and talk with Jeremy Beliveau. Jeremy is a lifelong seeker whose spiritual path has been shaped less by doctrine and more by lived experience. His journey deepened through years of reflection, time in nature, meditation, and navigating profound personal transitions that invited him to sit honestly with grief, meaning, and identity. Rather than suppress difficult experiences, Jeremy chose presence, allowing spirituality to emerge as something embodied, practical, and quietly transformative. A certified life coach, Jeremy is entering a new chapter focused on guiding others through change while continuing his own journey through hiking, travel, and spiritual exploration, living the questions rather than rushing towards answers. Welcome in, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm excited.
Me too. So I want to tell everybody, Jeremy just launched a podcast not too long ago called Let's Hike. So I want to kick off with that for a little bit. I've listened to all the episodes so far, but if you could just give us a synopsis of your pod, I would love that.
Sure. So for the last few years, I've been trying to figure out how I can share my story to help other people. And I was out hiking just a couple months ago, and it came to me. It was like, well, just talk about hiking and healing and how I use my time in nature to make myself better and to quiet all the little voices that sneak up on you.
I think it's so good. I love that you bring the healing lens. Is that what you call it, right? The healing lens or the coaching lens? I love lens, that.
Yep.
The next best step. I love that.
Yep.
It's so good. What brought you into hiking? What got you out there?
So as a teenager growing up, I lived really close to Cardigan Mountain, and
Hmm.
so I was always out hiking as a teenager. And then as we get older and life sneaks up on you, I kind of got away from it. But a few years ago, ended up with having some personal challenges,
Hmm.
which maybe we'll get into. But I ended up hiking a lot, and there was a lot of time on Cardigan to reflect and to ask for prayers and help. My daughter ended up sick and in the hospital for quite a while, and so I would go up there to connect and to basically ask for prayers for her health and well-being.
Yeah.
And so that pretty much turned into a weekly thing. I'm pretty close to having summited Cardigan about 100 times now.
Wow.
So yeah, it's definitely a place where I find peace and serenity. So
It's a beautiful hike. I've done it before. It's
it
beautiful
is.
up there.
Yeah,
When you
and
can
then
see just so far.
oh yeah, on clear day, if for the
Hmm.
effort required, it has the highest payoff by far.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
Agreed.
yeah, so I had done some of the 4,000 footers sporadically here and there, but then just last year I made a pretty significant push and did 18 of the 48 last year. So I'm at like 33 or 34 of the
In one
48
year?
4,000 footers.
In one year, you did
One year,
18?
yeah, yeah. Which
Whoa.
isn't, I mean, there are people that will do all 48 in 12 months, but
Wow.
I mean, there's people, there's something out there called the grid where people will hike all 48 within a month for
No.
every month of the year. So it's 576 summits in a calendar month.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, maybe when I retire.
Those are your goals going forward? Not bad
Yes,
months.
that is a goal going forward is to retire soon and to hike a lot more. Yep.
Good for you. Our state is gorgeous. And New England, period, is wonderful.
I grew up taking a lot of it for granted. I used to drive through the White Mountains probably 4 times a week, going back and forth to college in Berlin, and it just became a travel the road after a while. I didn't enjoy the beauty of it until just a few years ago. Now my appreciation for the mountains is completely different.
Yeah, your eyes are open now. It's
Oh yeah.
wonderful. And look at
Yep.
you. Now you have a podcast about it. I love it.
Yep. It's full circle.
So great. So what? Let's talk about you a little bit deeper now. What spiritual roots brought you to where you are now?
So I think I've always had a connection to the metaphysical side of things. I can recall, and here's a good one for your spooky segments. Um, I can recall being about 5 or 6 years old in a house that we lived in Enfield. Was a 3-unit house that my parents owned, and I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and there was someone standing next to my bed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so it was really it scared me obviously as a child. I think
Yeah.
back to it now, and I was like, it's still very vivid in my memory. Like it was a green like colorish aura, but it was very clearly a older man wearing like an dressed in probably like a 1920s or 1930s where everybody wore like a wool suit,
Mm-hmm.
even
Yeah.
commoners, and very clearly standing next to me.
That's wild.
And
How long
yeah,
was he there for?
until I left the room.
Were you just like, I'm out? You're not
Yeah,
leaving? I will?
yeah. I went and climbed in bed with my parents, scared to death.
Oh
And
my
now
God.
I welcome that stuff. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. All the metaphysical stuff. I had friends that I said, if you guys split into two different people right now, I'd be cool with that. I'd just be like, yep, I accept that this is real. So yeah, so as a kid, I had that experience. I always would get weird, creepy feelings in that house. Like you go to bed at night and run up the stairs because it felt like somebody was behind you. You get those
Oh,
cold chills and
yeah.
stuff. And so, my dad had some really weird experiences in that house too when he was younger because his family had owned it for a while, and it's right across from the Baltic Mill. And so I have no idea what happened in there,
Right
but
in downtown Enfield? I was going to ask you, were you on the 4A side or the 4 side?
Route
Route
4 side.
4.
So it was on
Okay.
Baltic Street, so right
Yeah.
across from the Baltic Mill. Yeah, there's a
Okay.
three unit house right there, and my parents and my dad's family owned it for a while. But yeah, so some spooky stuff going on there, but then a lot of what I've come to understand for my spirituality has been reflective. So I lost my best friend at 36 years old. We were both 36. He died in a motorcycle accident. And I never really understood me being able to feel other people's energy until I was around his widow. And it went from feeling really calm to feeling chaos.
Really?
Like, yeah, I could feel her energy. The only way I could explain it is it felt like somebody took a bouncy ball and threw it into this tiny little box, and it was just in there, just bouncing around at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Okay.
And I never understood being around her why I felt so uncomfortable for a while. And no fault of hers. I mean, she had just lost her best friend. But that was my first experience with me being able to feel other people's energy.
How did you work through that? Were you like, all right, I recognize this. Now, how do I work with it?
No,
or
I didn't
how did you handle it?
I avoided her. Unfortunately for her. I mean,
fair.
we're very close friends. She's one of the closest people that I know. But yeah, unfortunately I avoided the situation just because I didn't know what it was. Like I just knew that I felt uncomfortable and I didn't know how to handle it. Until now. Like
it's scary a little bit because you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now I question that a lot. We were talking before we started recording. I said that my father unfortunately passed a couple weeks ago, and I was sitting in a meditation and I questioned, like, is this sadness that I feel mine? And the answer that I got was no, it was my dad's. And so, yeah, tie into a lot of the highly metaphysical stuff now. And so then I dug deeper into asking more questions as to why he felt sad and whatnot. But
yeah. Was that part of your journaling session? So Jeremy and I were talking about journaling before we started recording. Let's talk about it for a second because I love journaling, as you probably know if you've listened.
Yes.
Love it. But you were speaking about how it's kind of like nope, not going there for you.
It seems to be a bit of a block. And so my understanding is that's probably where all of my power is once I get past that block, that journaling will be a powerful tool that I can use. But yes, that was something I'd meditated and journaled on that subject specifically.
Did you have any breakthroughs when you journal? You don't have to get into it too deep because I realize that's very personal. But were you like taken back a little bit about what came out when you were journaling? Because sometimes, that happens when you're really into it and you're like, holy shit, that just all came out of me.
I would say I'm not surprised by the stuff that comes out with journaling because I am very reflective in my own thoughts. They don't get onto paper.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of self-reflection all the time. And so what I'm learning to do is trust, like when those thoughts come in and I'm writing them down, that I don't have to pass judgment on it. I can just write them down and then I trust that if I get the feeling that that's not mine, then I trust that that was the message for me from somebody else.
I love this. I love this so much. So good.
There's no books on, even there might be books on this, but until you experience yourself, it's really hard to understand. Like it seems so far-fetched. Like growing up, being part of the social engineering of the world where they don't want you to believe in this stuff.
Yep.
It's really hard to build that trust. And so intuition is a huge thing for me. I trust my gut now more than anything. And it's one of those things that it's hard to build because you can't have a gut feeling about somebody and then say, oh, hey, do you mind if you confirm this feeling that I have? Because they're going to be like, they might not even be aware of it themselves, right? And so it's hard. It is hard.
Oh my God. I love that first of all, that you're a man and that you are in tune with this and that you're allowing yourself to do that. I think that is huge because our society is so hell-bent on telling men that they can't feel, they can't cry, they can't express themselves emotionally, like you have to suck it up and move on. And I appreciate so much that you are like, yep, we're feeling this, we're doing this, I'm open now. I love that.
Well, that's how I was raised. Men don't cry, and that doesn't hurt unless it's bleeding, kind of thing. And
if it's not broken, you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But broken is that's a good word. So might as well. I have no problem sharing my personal story. My hopes is that I can share what happened to me and that it hits the right ears and it helps someone else. And so in 2021 started a huge change in my life, and that's where I would say from 2021 to now is been exponential growth for me, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Sometimes that's very confusing and very frustrating, because when you live in this tiny little bubble that you've been used to for 40 some odd years, it's very comfortable. You get comfortable with what you don't know. And so in 2021, I decided to leave a career job that I had for 24 years and start my own business. And so it was a huge risk.
Yeah.
And with that risk, unfortunately, it was kind of the nail in the coffin for my marriage. So separated from my wife within 6 months of starting my business. And business was going well, and the marriage thing was expected. We had been in a rough spot for a while. And so I moved back into a place that my parents own, and wasn't super happy there, but it was a roof over my head. And so all things happening for a reason. In January of 2022, I got a phone call that my daughter had fallen ill and needed to go to the emergency room. And just a little bit of background on that, my daughter was born with cerebral palsy and epilepsy. And so from the time she was 7, she was in full-time nursing care.
Okay.
And so she wasn't living at home.
Yeah. Okay.
And so she was in full-time nursing care. Through COVID, unfortunately, we weren't able to see her much. They said, well, you can come and see her through the window. And unfortunately, for my daughter, communication was physical touch. And so I don't know if you can hear feedback.
Nope. You're cool.
It's on my side then. But physical touch was a big thing with her, to hold her, to be in her presence. So we didn't really see her much. And so we got the phone call that she needed to go to the hospital, which wasn't unusual. Sometimes she would get infections and she'd have to go and get some treatments, and then she'd be fine. That wasn't the case with this one. She ended up with pneumonia and a really bad infection. So she was septic. And then overnight, so we got her administered to the hospital, figured she'll get antibiotics and she'll start recovering. Well, overnight she ended up in respiratory failure, and she ended up through all that stuff with kidney failure and a bunch of other things. And it was a 10-month battle for her in the hospital with lots of treatments and stuff. And unfortunately, she passed away in November of 2022.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
So,
Jeremy, I'm so sorry.
So through that whole time, I was also going through a divorce.
Yeah.
I had also trying to operate my business, which eventually didn't happen, because for the first 3 months of my daughter being in the hospital, I was there with her, with my ex-wife-to-be, 12 hours a day. So from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, we were there with her as much as we could be, just hoping that she was going to get better, and making all these hard choices for someone that couldn't communicate to us what she really wanted.
Right.
And so during that time, I'd also met somebody and, fell in love with them and their young daughter, and saw it as a second choice on life, a second chance on life. And all within, so daughter passed in November. Before that, in October, my divorce was final. My business at this point was suffering because I hadn't focused much on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this new relationship that had started was also ending. And
my God.
Over the course of 2 months, I was divorced. My daughter passed away. My business failed. And this new relationship that I had thought was going to be something special was done. And
Damn.
so by the end of 2022, it was a tough year. But through all that hardship and adversity is where my spirituality blossomed. And so I have had the opportunity to find a new perspective on life, mm-hmm. and a new perspective on death. Yes, I am human, and I went through a very dark time, and I was very fortunate that I had some friends that helped me through that time. Fortunate my parents helped me through that time, and my family. But that, like I said, that's when I really opened up to seeing a medium. So I went and saw my first medium, looking for answers, looking to connect to my daughter somehow. So I got into mediumship that way. Oracle cards, Reiki healing, breath work, meditation,
wow.
life coaching, like you name it. I tried all of it, because the way I kind of put my situation was I was in a deep dark well, and I didn't know which way was up, which way was down, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel for me. And so it was really, really dark. So I was looking for any way to connect to back to myself. And what I've learned since is there was no going back. It was going forward, and going forward meant you go through the hard stuff to get to where life will be better.
Yes.
And so, yes, so I love numerology now. And the whole time my daughter was sick, I kept seeing 11:11 on the clock.
Yep.
And she died on 11/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I have chills. Yep. Wow.
And so 11:11 is a huge number for me. I also, through doing my numerology, I have 11 and I have 22 as two master numbers in my personal chart. Mm-hmm. So my life purpose is an 11 and my path is a 22, or vice versa. I'd have to look back at the numbers, but yeah, so there's some powerful stuff going on, and numerology is amazing. Like the synchronicities between numerology and real life are amazing. And astrology, I mean, you name it, I've looked into it, trying to find meaning.
I love that you took such a deep dive. Holy shit.
Didn't really have much of a choice.
Well, and you took a positive way of doing it instead of turning to substance. And because we've talked about that before. That's a really big deal. Like, that's a really big deal because it's so easy to fall into substance for relief, for disconnection to how you're feeling. I relate to that 100%, but
yeah,
good for you for taking the light path instead of the deep dark one.
Well, I would say I felt guided on that decision. For some reason, I just had a knowing that, yeah, I could tune out with drugs and alcohol, but the pain was still going to be there. Mm. And so why kick the can down the road?
Right.
Sit and deal with the pain now, and then hopefully, there's no telling how long that takes to process. It's been 3 or 4 years for me now. But I knew that I didn't want to live the next 20 years of my life drinking every day to hide those feelings.
Yes. Good for you. Amazing.
So yeah.
Kudos. Seriously.
I was very, very fortunate that my ex-wife had given me some money, and she said, go get help. And so a problem in this area, and the reason that I got into life coaching is when I needed somebody the most, the hospital said, we'll give you 3 or 4 sessions with a counselor, no problem. Well, that never happened. And so I ended up getting a list of about 10 therapists in the area, and nobody had any availability.
It's the worst. It really is.
It's
really bad around here. Anywhere, I think, to be fair.
Yeah,
if
mental health
therapy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mental health is a huge, huge issue. But one of the therapists was nice enough to give me the number to a life coach. Okay. And so I met with the life coach probably close to 10 times over a couple months, and I realized out of that, I'm the one that has to do the work. Yeah. And so I sold my car, and I paid for the Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonna's training.
Okay.
So it took me a year because I was applying it to myself. So I was really learning the lessons, but it took me a year to get certified through Tony Robbins. But at that time I also got kind of certified. I went through all the training. I wasn't in a place at the time to do video. Part of the breathwork and meditation classes where you had to do video coaching sessions of somebody to get certified. I passed all the testing. I can do all of the stuff. I just didn't get the certificate, but I got trained in breathwork, trained in meditation as well. And then I also started Reiki. So I am working towards my level 3 Reiki starting in April of this year.
That's amazing. So what are you going to do with all of this knowledge that you have? Is this going to be a business of yours?
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm fortunate that the company that I work for had stocks. And so starting spring of 2027, I'll get some of that. So that means that I will be free to, start a practice. Hopefully where I can combine life coaching, breathwork, meditation, and Reiki as healing modalities for other people.
Yeah, heck yeah, I can't wait. I'll have to have you back on. We'll talk about it. Once you're up and running.
That would be fantastic.
I would love that. So what were, you you become enlightened, so to speak, what were some unexpected obstacles? Obviously, your daughter passing away and your marriage, but what were some unexpected obstacles that maybe you ran into on your travels?
So the biggest unexpected obstacle is that you think that you do all this work, that life is just going to somehow get easier someday. And that is not the case. Life doesn't get any easier for me, but I have tools now to manage the rough stuff.
Yes.
You'd like to think that, oh man, I've been through all this stuff. I've put in all this work. Now I'm going to just be able to sit back and coast. And I think that the biggest thing for me is the more I learn, the more frustrated that I get, because there's so many things that we're taught to believe as growing up. That's just, it's mind-boggling, because you have to learn the difference between belief and knowing. And this is an argument I have with people all the time. Is I will never argue with somebody over beliefs, because your beliefs are your beliefs and my beliefs are my beliefs.
Yes.
But knowing requires experience. So I can't say I know someone's been to the moon because I've never been to the moon.
Okay.
So,
I like
so
this.
that's the difference between believing and knowing, right? I can believe that people have, or I can believe that people haven't, but I don't know that somebody has or somebody hasn't.
Okay. I like this.
Right. And
Going.
so
Yes.
when I gave this example to my mother, she throws out, she goes, well, it's like telling someone that's never had sex what sex is like. They can believe you, but they don't know.
Until it happens.
And I'm like, exactly. So why shoot for the stars? Shoot for the bedroom. That's a closer something for people to connect to, I guess. She put it very simply.
Your mom sounds like my kind of lady.
Oh
yeah. My God.
Yeah.
Props to Jeremy's mom. That's hilarious. Oh my God.
But it puts it into perspective, right?
It really does. Absolutely.
The difference between belief and knowing is experience. And so for me, it's like there's a lot of things that I thought I knew before that now I just realize I only believe.
Yeah.
And now I can change my beliefs, and that can happen. I'm a Gemini, so that can happen every day.
Oh my God. Geminis.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's certain is change.
Yeah, for real. Oh my goodness, I love that. I'm going to be giggling about that for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something more subtle, more like
oh no, I love
deep, and my mom just cuts right to the chase. Nope.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's been like the biggest hurdle for me, is like accepting that what I thought I knew all along, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so the more you learn, the less you know. And that's one of those things. You'd expect things would get easier, but they just don't get easier.
They don't. Yeah, exactly. But you, like you said, you learn those tools to move and carry on and deal with things differently. When I got sober, everybody's heard my story, but I can always relate, because you think it's going to be all great. You're like, yeah, man, I'm not drinking anymore. Woo, life's going to be wonderful. It's not. It crashes on you.
Yeah.
Because
well, you'll ride that high for a little while.
Yes, exactly. And I did. I was like, oh, yeah, man, I am on it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this feels so good. I'm doing great.
Deep crash. It was bad.
Yep.
It was bad. But I didn't turn back, and I'm not looking back. And I'm grateful for every day. The day I decided to get sober, man, that was rough. I was at a friend's house the night before. I partied it up. It was bad. I woke up. I'd puke in my hair. It was just bad. I walked through the door and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
My husband kind of laughed at me because I walked in like the walk of shame.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm finished. I'm done now.
That's what it takes. So the way Tony Robbins puts it is, the pain of changing finally became less of the pain of staying where you were.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more painful for you to continue the path you were on than it was the unknown, because our brains love familiarity.
Yeah.
And so even though not drinking for you was going to be a healthier choice for you, it was something that you weren't familiar with. And so your brain was like, yeah, no, we'll just stick with what we know, because what if we don't? drink. Well, then what? And the
Right. What
unknown
are
is
we going to
scary.
do? Right.
Yeah, the unknown's scary for the brain.
Yes. What are we going to do now? Oh, you
Yeah.
always have that thing in your hand. What's going on?
I
Because we're.
understand addiction. I never did. My mom has smoked cigarettes since she was a teenager, and she'd always tell me, "Oh, I can quit whenever I want." And I never understood her addiction to smoking because I had such a disdain for it myself
Yeah.
until I tried quitting sweets and sugar. And
That's
then I
hard
realized
too.
the torture that it is in your mind. Like when you were like, no, I'm not going to have this, all these little things, cravings kick in. And I'm like, this is addiction. This is
Yes.
what other people feel like for other things.
Isn't it
Granted,
mind-boggling?
mine doesn't hurt anybody but myself, but
Right.
still it's just as dangerous, I think, as drinking with diabetes the way it is in this country. It's sugar is
100.
sugar is horrible.
It is, and it's in everything, and 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
That's why I say addiction can be anything. It
Yeah.
can literally be anything. If
Yeah,
you're
you can be addicted to good things.
exactly, you could be addicted to exercising, and then that turns into something that's harmful to you.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm looking at my clock. Guess what time it is, Jeremy? It's 11:11.
Or
Just looked over.
yeah.
That's wild. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
It's
Wonderful.
there. It's definitely some important numbers for me.
Absolutely. I love
But
that
yeah,
you
I learned
recognize them.
balance. So what you were talking about with too much of a good thing, too much of a bad thing.
Yeah.
I learned that life is all about balance, and so that's one of my tattoos is the yin and yang.
Love it.
Just to remind
I
myself, and it's right on my wrist, so I see it every day. To
You can't miss
just
it.
stay balanced, right?
It's right there.
Just stay balanced.
What are some books that you're into right now, past or present, that's helped you on your journey here?
Oh man, I
And you can just
so
name authors if you want to, like anything. Podcasts
sure
that you listen to, anything.
because yeah, well, I listen to podcasts all day, so my job allows me to just I have freedom of my ears, right? So I listen to podcasts, I listen to
Lucky.
audiobooks. So I'll do 2 Audible books a month. That's the subscription that I have right now, and so I'm listening to usually 2 books a month. I've listened to all things from Dolores Cannon to Eckhart Tolle to anybody that's done self-help. Brene Brown, Byron Katie, Tony Robbins, you name it. I've listened to most of them, or I have their books on my bookshelf. The Dolores Cannon stuff was interesting, but I think my first real interest in a book was years ago, and it was on the more metaphysical side of things. It was past life regression stuff, and it was Dr. Brian Weiss.
Okay.
And a guy that I'd worked with gave me a book called Only Love is Real. And I started reading that book and I couldn't put it down. It's the first time reading. So I hated reading as a kid. It just makes me tired. I just want to fall asleep when I read. This book I couldn't put down. And I read the whole book in just a couple days and I was like, wow. But that book goes into, he was a psychologist who treated patients from trauma in their past. So he would regress people into childhood to try and pinpoint a traumatic event that happened to them and have them heal that while in hypnosis and help them out in their present day. Well, he had this one patient in particular who he regressed all the way back as far as he could as a child and didn't find anything. And so he asked her to continue to go deeper, to go further back. And she recalled time in the womb. And then he asked her to go deeper and she actually jumped into previous lives. And so that was his first experience with like past life regression.
Wow.
And I know Dolores Cannon does the same things, but
Yeah.
this guy has done a bunch of books to where once he did that, it became like this thing that he wanted to do all the time. And so he was connecting with other patients and regressing them to where he has this book called Messages from the Masters.
Okay.
And so where he was connecting with master spirits or master souls through this other person. So master souls who have ascended and they no
like
longer
ascended masters?
Yep.
Okay.
And
All
they
right.
were speaking to him through these people. And he said that
wild.
person's voice would change, like completely different. And so, yeah, all that stuff, it's helped me with my perspective on life and death, which if you have any experience with Einstein, he says energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And so our soul is our energy,
Absolutely.
our spirit is our breath, and our bodies are our bodies. And so our souls are infinite.
100%. When my grandparents passed away, you may have heard this story, but when my grandparents passed away, I was in the room with both of them. My grandmother had all of us in the room with her because she had been sick for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden she just went downhill and she passed away. But we were all with her in the room, and I was touching her when she passed, and I felt that energy exchange. It was the most wild thing ever. And then when my grandfather was passing, I had so my grand passed before him. And he passed like within a year and a half or so of her passing. He had Alzheimer's. And when I was on my way to go visit him for the day, I was going to stop and get coffee because he had actually been still drinking the day before, if I remember correctly. But I remember I was going to stop and get coffee. And it was like, nope, just go. And I got there and I was the only one. And within 15 minutes, he'd passed. And I was there holding his hand, and my poor mom was in the hospital at the time because she was sick, and she couldn't be there. So I had to text my mom, he's going, because we both worked in healthcare. So, I've dealt with death quite a bit, but I'd never been touching someone when they passed and feel that exchange, and it's real. You can feel it. So I resonate with what you just said. Is guess my point. It's an exchange, and it's palpable.
100%.
Yeah.
I know that the night that my father passed, I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, out of the blue. Just woke up, couldn't get comfortable, came out and laid on my couch with my dog, and fell back to sleep. And then since my daughter passed, because of what I lived through for 10 months of having my phone on constantly and waiting for a phone call in the middle of the night, now I'm like, nope, my phone goes on airplane mode at night, and I'll turn it back on in the morning when I wake up. And so Monday morning I woke up, saw I had a missed call from my sister at 2:30 in the morning, and I called her anyways, and I said, did you really mean to call me at 2:30? And she said, yep. And I said, okay. So the funny part is my sister had woken up just before 1 o'clock. I woke up at 1:30, and my mother woke up around that same time. And my mom woke up because my dad's diabetic monitor was going off. And so she went in to make sure he was okay, and that's when she found out that he hadn't. So right around that 1:30 time frame is when he passed.
He alerted all of you. Like, he was like,
yep,
everybody rally. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. That's very powerful. Holy shit.
Yeah. Fortunately, he passed comfortably in his sleep.
Yeah.
Same thing with my daughter. When I realized that she wasn't going to get better from what she was suffering from, my prayers turned from let's get better to just make it peaceful. And so it was a Friday. I got home from work. I had just showered. I was getting ready to go call her. I actually sat down to put my shoes on. I was going to go see her when I got the call that she had passed at some point in the afternoon. She'd fallen asleep, take a nap, and she didn't wake up. So that's how I hope for everybody that their loved ones pass, is peacefully in their sleep. I couldn't ask for anything easier, because the alternative for both her and my father was suffering. Yeah. Like, my dad had heart failure, and so he was building up fluid in his body, and so suffocation. And then same thing, my daughter had a really hard time clearing mucus because of her cerebral palsy, and so her alternative was also going to be suffocation. And I just couldn't imagine someone passing that way. And so when they both died of heart failure, it was a blessing.
Yeah, that's we just want the best for our loved ones when they're passing away. Just comfortable, surrounded by love, if possible, and oh my God!
Yeah,
and I'm getting emotional. Sorry.
Well, I learned with my daughter's passing, I carry around a lot of guilt, and I know we both see Jen for Zero Balancing, and that has been life-changing for me. For anybody that's listened to the podcast that hasn't and is struggling with some stuff, I highly recommend going to see her.
I haven't seen her yet.
Oh, you definitely got to go see her.
Dawn and Kristen have gone, and and our friend Danny, I hear all about it.
I've been seeing Jen since shortly after Mandy passed. She was only doing Reiki at the start, but then she got into Zero Balancing, and Zero Balancing has been life-changing for me. Like, my physical body transformation of just loosening up and letting go of a lot of stuff that I was carrying has been life-changing. But I carried a lot of guilt with the things of my daughter's lifetime. like
Yeah.
decisions that I made, things that had happened. I didn't see her as much as I would have liked to in hindsight. But I also understand why now. Like that was part of my reflective process is being the type of person that I am. I want to fix everybody's problem. And I was uncomfortable being around my daughter because I couldn't fix her situation.
Yeah.
But also there was nothing for me to fix. So from a higher perspective and like our soul contract with each other is she was in this life to suffer to teach me.
Yeah.
And so her suffering has helped her progress higher as a soul. So it's all like that perspective is what gets me through life and death now. And so when my father passed, I had written him a letter before that, just saying, hey, you know, I know that we didn't have this touchy-feely kind of love when we were younger. And as a child, I didn't have the knowledge that I needed to understand that how you showed me love and how I received love were different.
Yeah.
And that the way that you showed love, I understand now. And I, you know, just told him I loved him and I thanked him. And so when he did pass, I was at peace with it because I suffered more watching my father go from being this very big, strong figure in my life to somebody so frail.
Yeah.
And I struggled feeling more for him losing his independence and his freedom and stuff like that. That bothered me more. His death was actually freeing. And the way I explained it to my mother, I said is, I was only really able to connect with Dad when I saw him physically. And now I can connect to him anytime.
Yes.
And so
That's beautiful.
It's a, maybe that doesn't work for everybody, that mindset,
Right.
but it's very freeing for me and it brings me peace. So that's what I'm sticking with.
I love it. I love every bit of what you just said. Absolutely. Oh my God, Jeremy. I love that you're so connected like this. Seriously.
Well, it's come through a lot of pain, unfortunately.
I know. And
or fortunately, you know.
fortunately, yes.
Yep.
You know, we all have our trials and tribulations in life, but if we start to look at them head on, you know, similarly to, you know, how you did it, we really do come out the other side and just have those, I call it my tool belt. I have my tool belt to deal with whatever is thrown at me, you know, feeling stressed. I say to myself, what the fuck is this lesson? What is this lesson? What is this lesson? I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But here we are. We're doing it. We're doing this.
So are you familiar with the 100, 10,000 rule?
No, what's this? Tell me.
So for every 10,000 experiences that you have, 100 will be memorable and 1 will be life-changing.
Oh.
So when you talk, and the numbers vary depending on who says it.
Yeah.
It could be 1, 10, 100 or whatever, but the concept is still the same. You're going to have a lot of experiences in your life and they're all lessons, right? They're all opportunities to learn something. And as the universe is giving you these lessons and you're ignoring the lesson, the lessons get harder, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when my best friend passed, I had an opportunity to learn a lesson there and to change things in my life, and I didn't. And so, you know, a few years down the road, like, the universe is like, well, you didn't listen to all these other times, so here's lessons you're not going to miss.
Right.
And so
now the wheels
are
coming off.
Yeah. My daughter getting sick, the divorce, the relationship issues, the business stuff. It was like, here you go. You're not missing this one.
Yep.
And so being reflective now on things that cause you discomfort, take the time to really investigate the lesson. Like the burn on my foot that we talked about before the podcast started. Yes. Being immobile, and what was the lesson in that? What was the lesson in what came out of the events of not being able to move? And so, being reflective so that I don't have to go through that stuff again.
Yeah. Right. And learn the lesson, right? So you can move on and see what else is coming to you.
Yep.
Those doors are open now.
Yep.
So if you were, let's get into this. If you were going to give someone some advice on how they can go deeper into their spiritual practice, what would you give?
I'll speak for men because
I love it.
I understand the struggle.
Got it.
As men, typically we're trained to think that to be a big, strong man, you're not supposed to show emotion. And I would say that it takes a stronger man to be okay with being emotional in front of other people. And so if you want to dive deeper into spirituality and your own self-reflection, that you have to be okay being uncomfortable. Because reflecting on a lot of things about yourself has been uncomfortable. Like I've looked back into all the way back into my childhood and the things that happened and why they've happened, and having an engineering mindset, I analyze everything, which is good and bad, right? Some things just happen. They don't have to be good or bad. And I've been fortunate to have a very close friend who has helped me with how I speak, like the things that I say to myself. I told him, well, you know, all these bad things happen. And he said, things just happen. They don't have to be good or bad. Sometimes things just happen. And so if you want to be a guy and deepen your spirituality, you have to be in touch with the very subtle things. The things that we're trained as young men to ignore. Feelings within your body, gut feelings, even sometimes in relationships, those are trained out of us. Like I had gut feelings in my marriage that I ignored because, oh, you know, that wouldn't happen, or that's not true, and my gut feelings were right. And so believing in being okay with the things that maybe I grew up with a younger sister that maybe your sister was into, all the little witchy things. You have to accept that. Well, you don't have to, but no. I accept now that those things are real, and it helps really deepen my connection to a lot of things.
I love it. Do you practice with cards right now?
I do have oracle cards, yeah.
Do you? Do you pull every day or once a week?
I don't.
What do you do?
I don't have a regular practice. When I have a question that I am looking for guidance on, I will pull my card. Okay. And it's always blows my mind.
Yes.
How accurate or just spot on that the encouragement or the deepening of that trust the cards provide. And I've got probably 8 or 9 different decks of oracle cards right now.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I love this so much.
Yep. Tarot is something that I've gone to somebody for tarot.
Yeah.
But to me, an oracle card is easy. I can shuffle my deck and either something pops out or I'll draw 3 cards, past, present, and future. And those are easy for me to understand. Like tarot has rules about it. Yep. And it would take me sitting with somebody for a while to go through it. Learning new things for me until I can make that connection in my head to a way that I understand is different.
Yeah. Do you feel like it has to be repetitive? Like for you to learn something like that? Do you know what I mean? Does that question make sense?
Yes, it does make sense, but not necessarily repetitive. I have to see it in a way that makes sense in my head. Okay. So I've always been very mechanically inclined. Yeah. And so when I worked in engineering in my previous life, electrical side of things, because you can't really see electricity, you see the results of electricity. Okay. I would always work with the electrical engineers and be like, okay, well, and some of them were really good. They'd be like, okay, think of this part as like a valve. And so it's going to restrict current or something like that. And so I had to translate things to the way things that my mind understands. And so the spirituality side of things, the metaphysical side of things is great because I don't have to think about it too much. I just trust. Yes. Because it hasn't let me down. Like I can go pull an oracle card right now about what's going to happen over the rest of the day, and I believe that it's going to guide me. Yeah. It's wild. And as a guy and somebody that grew up into race cars and all this macho cool stuff, riding motorcycles, it can be uncomfortable if I haven't done a lot of the work to be more secure in who I am with myself. That would be something like I'd be embarrassed to talk about. But now it's like, try it. Just give it a shot and see what happens because it'll blow your mind. Yes. You'll be like, holy shit, that was spot on, man. Yep. Yeah.
I love oracle cards for that reason.
Oh, it's crazy. So Jen from Hands to Heart Healing, Jen Densmore, who does the zero balancing, she's the one that got me into it first. So I went to see her for Reiki when she had first started. And she's like, at the end, she's like, well, do you want to pull cards? And I'd known Jen for years before she started. And I'm like, what do you mean pull cards? And at that time in my life, I can look back on it. I really felt like I was living with a helmet on and the visor was really tinted dark. I couldn't really see 5 feet in front of me. I was just so into the weeds. And so I'm like, well, what is this? And she goes, well, you'll just pull 3 cards. And she guided me. She's like, we'll shuffle. And she spread the cards out in front of me. And she goes, use your non-dominant hand, pick 3 cards. One will represent past, present, and future. I was like, okay, cool. And so I asked, in my past, I pulled a card that represented my past relationship with my daughter, my present relationship with my daughter, and my future relationship with my daughter. And the one that sticks out, I think I have pictures of these cards in my phone somewhere, but the one that sticks out was the present one, and she was the dove.
Oh. Do you see doves now? Do you relate them to her?
No, I relate to her with hummingbirds.
Okay.
But
Beautiful.
what the dove card symbolized, peace and love and stuff like that, was exactly what I needed to hear at that time. Like my present relationship with her, she accepted as being peaceful and loving. And so it just blows my mind. And then going forward, I can't even remember what it was, but I pull oracle cards, not regularly. It's not a daily practice, but I do it enough to really find guidance in them.
Yeah, you do it when you need to.
I do.
When you're called. I love it. So good. You know what also goes well with pulling cards, Jeremy? Journaling.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten into all the other stuff. Like you want to talk about crystals. I've got crystals all over my house. I've got all different kinds of incense and smudging. And like I would sage myself every day and then go for a hike and just trying to clear negative energy because I just felt weighed down by so much.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how that stuff really just makes you feel lighter.
Yes. Agreed.
And then any macho guy that listens to this podcast and thinks that I'm full of BS, well, try it. Or come see me and I'll show you and you'll be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your life coaching gig. Do you have clients right now?
No. So I did.
Okay.
And what I find is it's really somebody has to be at that breaking point pretty much for coaching to work. Because unfortunately our society, everybody wants a magic pill that's just going to make everything better.
Yeah.
And so when I sit with somebody in coaching and the first thing I say is, look, I'm not doing anything to you. I'm not doing anything for you. I'll be reflective and I'm going to reflect things back to you that you already know, but you have to do this work yourself. And people don't want that. And I understand that because when you're in that space of, I just need something that's going to help pull me out of this light or this dark spot to the light. Yes. Well, that is you. You just can't see it from your perspective.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you have to find, and, I've learned a lot of tools and modalities to sit with someone and help them see that. But it's one of those things I was really into it. So my thing about getting into life coaching was trying to find a way to give back and honor my daughter's life and her sacrifice. Like I feel she came into my life, she sacrificed with her own suffering in her life so that I could learn and get to this point of wanting to help other people. So I started out life coaching for free. I was just wanting to help people as a way to give back. And I run up against people have been trained in, at least where we live in the United States, that if something doesn't have a high dollar value to it, then it doesn't have a high value.
Yeah.
And so and I refuse to just go out and charge people $500 an hour for something that they really need, because we've been trained to think that more money means it's better.
Yes.
And so for me, because of my spiritual beliefs, I believe that if I can help somebody and then they can help somebody, the only way that we're going to live in a better place is to live that way ourselves. And so I would rather lead by example, that not everything has to be a money exchange, that what I'm going to get out of it is that we all live in a better place.
Yes. Energy exchange. That's the currency.
Exchange, yeah. Exactly. And that's what I do with my Reiki master. I don't have to pay her in cash for my Reiki lessons. We have an equal exchange. I go and do spring and fall cleanups at their house for them. And it's just to me, it's a much more civilized and community oriented way of doing things. We've been trained so much to think that the dollar is value, when realistically it has no value. It's not backed by anything. It's just a piece of paper. I could give you a piece of paper that says $100 on it, and it's the same equivalent as $100 bill.
That's right. It has value if you believe it does.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I went to our friend Kristen, when
Yeah.
things first happened, she didn't end up going, but she invited me to go to this seminar at the Hanover Inn where these two people from India came, and I can't remember their names, but they came and talked about consciousness and raising of consciousness. And their belief is if you can get 8% of the world's population to raise its consciousness, raise its vibration, that the rest of humanity will come with it.
Oh,
And so it was a speech, and then there were multiple meditations throughout it. And that's why I shared something on my Facebook page today that I can't remember what day it is, but coming up in March, I think that there's this movement going on where they're trying to just get at the same time of day for anybody that wants to just spend 5 minutes meditating on 4 words. And I think it was peace, love. There was 2 others. I shared it, and you can find
check
that
it
on
out.
my page. But I truly believe that, like, if you were into the study of cymatics, which is the study of vibration, and everything vibrates, and energy is a vibration, and it's that if we can raise the vibration, then I think we will live in a much happier reality. Because everything in the news, and this is my favorite thing to tell people that are just starting out, is the letters of news are also the letters of a compass.
Oh.
So what is the purpose of the news? What is the purpose of the news? Is to direct you how to feel. They understand the impact of cortisol on people's bodies. So how often do you see something that's great in the news? No, it's all fear-based sadness. It's driving people to be high cortisol, to be afraid of things. Like, I stopped paying attention to the news 5 years ago.
You just blew my mind.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I heard it. I can't take credit for it. I heard it from somebody else. But I will share it as much as I can with people that are caught up watching the news. They're being directed how to feel.
Yes. And isn't, when we're watching TV, doesn't our brain go into like theta, right? Like our learning waves, like where we're taking the information. Is it theta, right? Theta?
I know there's alpha, beta, theta, delta. I'm not sure which state it is, but yes. So any type of entertainment, if you break down the world with the word entertainment, it's to go into and to hold the mind.
Yeah.
And so, enter, right? Enter. Tain is to hold, and mente is the mind. Entertainment is to enter and hold the mind. So that's exactly what. I'm 50 years old, so I can remember being a kid and hearing something on TV say, this is paid programming.
Yeah. Yes.
Paid programming. What do you think they're programming?
Us.
Yes.
Okay.
They're programming your mind.
We're getting all deep in shit. I love it.
Oh, I could get into conspiracy stuff. That could be another whole podcast.
We'll do another episode.
That could be,
This is your introduction.
Yeah, right. This is my introduction to the world.
I love this so much. This has been so fun. Thank you so much. Your energy today has lifted me. Thank you.
Oh,
Let's get some socials for you. Where can people find you?
So on Facebook, I have the Let's Hike podcast, or Let's Hike is my Facebook page. I also have Jeremy Beliveau Life Coach for anybody that wants to go down that route. Instagram would be Jeremy Beliveau Life Coach and Let's Hike. Okay. And then my podcast is on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all that stuff, and that is the Let's Hike podcast.
Is it on Tuesdays? When do you come out?
Every other Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Okay.
And
what do you cover on that? Let's talk about that real quick. Other than hiking, we know that. What else do you do?
Trail reports. So I'll go on a hike and I blend, like, what was that hike like? I just started on the episode that's coming out next week. It would be, or the week after, would be a before, during, and after. So what was I feeling like before the hike? What was I feeling like during the hike? And what was the feelings after the hike? So kind of like a lot of times I'll go hike because I'm anxious about something or I'm upset about something. So my biggest thing is motion is the best way to handle emotion.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. And so moving helps me. And so a lot of times I'll go hike, not because I just enjoy hiking, which I do. I hike a lot of times because I'm dealing with something, and moving helps me process that.
And these are local hikes right here in New Hampshire?
Yep. For now. I would love for the podcast to grow to the point where it can sustain me traveling to Colorado or,
It will.
Kilimanjaro or something like that, and I
Oh
can
my
report on
God.
all that fun stuff. But yeah, so blending that with honest gear reviews of like things that I actually use myself for anybody that wants to get into hiking and is standing there at REI and looking at, 20 different backpacks and stuff. I share what works for me and what doesn't. Trust me, I've got a lot of backpacks, so I've learned over the years. But doing gear reviews, so I alternate. One podcast is a trip report, one podcast is a gear review, and in each one of those episodes, I try to sneak in a little bit of coaching.
Yes, I love that. Towards the end, right? At the end of the episodes.
Yep.
You throw in your coaching lens. I love
But
it.
what came to me recently is I think I'm going to put together like a short 10 or 15 minute, thinking of calling it like a trailside chat, where it's just focused on coaching, and that would come out in between other releases.
Okay. I love that idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to grow.
Still working out the details, and that would be just like we talked about earlier, the off the cuff, not a script that I've pre-written. That'll just be me sitting down because I've been enlightened by something that I want to share.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to hear more from Let's Hike. I would love to have you back on. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay?
No problem.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right,
have a great
care.
day. Bye.
Thanks for coming along for the ride, travelers. If you're enjoying the show, please share, like, or leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, or come join me over on Patreon, where you'll get show updates and have early access to new episodes every Thursday. You can also find me on Buy Me a Coffee. If you have ideas for the show or would like to say hello, you can email me at spiritualrootspodcast@gmail.com. Please keep sharing the show so we can keep finding our spiritual roots together.